Hello and welcome back to Retfurb. So on today's video we've got this Sony TA-F400 Stereo amplifier that we're just going to do a quick test and see if it's all working okay, and then we're going to go through and give it a service, and anything that needs sorting out we're going to do that in the process. So let's get straight into the video, let's do a quick test and let's see what's going on with it. So on the whole, as you can see, it's working pretty well. There's no sort of major issues. Obviously that was just a quick test, but I have done a longer test with the amplifier. There's mainly a couple of the buttons on there which are a little bit crackly when operated. You can see that I was sort of pressing them in and out quite a few times. So yeah, we're going to get inside, we're going to give it a clean. Going to take the lid off first, which is just the 2 screws either side and one at the back, and then the lid can be lifted off. So yeah, just going back to the issues, most of it will be sorted out with a good clean. As you can see straight away when you get the lid off, it's quite dusty in here, but it's just the buttons and the dirt that's in there over the years, and some of the buttons are probably a little bit dry, so we're going to get in there, give them a good clean. First off, we just need to go in and get a hoover and just go around with a soft brush and just hoover out all the sort of dust that's in there, which is obviously accumulated over time. Now this is quite normal for an amplifier or any stereo equipment. They will get dusty, but you want to keep them as clean as possible, because obviously the heat inside the amplifiers will get more with the dust on it. It almost acts as like a bit of an insulation blanket, if that makes sense. So we'll go around and just clear out as best as we can without disturbing too much, and then we can move on to getting the front panel off and then getting inside and cleaning up those buttons and controls. So the first thing I'm doing is just pulling off all the buttons. These are pretty simple, they just pull off the main sort of knob, and then we can get on and take the front panel trim off, which is 3 screws at the top and 3 screws underneath. So this one's pretty straightforward to do, not too difficult. It does take a little bit of fiddling around to get it all off. You can see there it sort of fell off as I was doing it. Not ideal, you want to be holding on to it really, you don't want to sort of let that drop off. And then we can move on to removing the nuts that hold the control knobs in place. I actually loosened these before this part, so you don't actually see that bit. And now just moving around to getting some of the other parts off. There's quite a bit that needs to be released before you can get this inner panel out. But you need to do this so you can get access to the back of the controls and the potentiometers, then we can spray some de-Oxit into there. So like I say, with all the videos, when I do servicing on anything like this, it's always worth going in with a de-Oxit, cleaning the controls first before you do anything else. Now, like I said again, doesn't fix everything, but you'll be surprised at just how much it does fix. There's videos that I've done that you would have seen that I thought that weren't going to be sorted by it, and actually turned out that that's all it was, just needed a good clean. So looking at the video here, it's a little bit hazy. I didn't realise I had a mark on the camera when I was doing this, and it almost looks like a little bit blurry. I didn't notice it until afterwards, but I'd done the video by then, so I just apologise for that. So you can see now the front panel is released. Most of the bits are off, so now we can just pull them out of the way, and then the panel can come off, and then just give that a clean before it goes back on. So now straight in with the de-Oxit. Just need to spray that into the hole at the side of the potentiometer. Just give it a little squirt, and then working it round, moving the knob from side to side, and just keep doing that. You can apply a little bit more. This will clean it and then lubricate it, and also the buttons, trying to spray that into any of the access points that you can get in behind the buttons, and that'll help them clean out and stop that crackliness, hopefully. You can see I'm just working the buttons and then onto the volume knob as well. This is the one that's probably the most common that goes crackly, because it's probably used more than the rest of them. So it'll work dry, or dust and stuff will get in there, so that's quite an important one to clean. But as you saw at the beginning, the main issue with this one was the buttons. I think it was the subsonic button, and also the button which controls whether the tone controls are controlled by the amplifier, or whether the sound is controlled by the device that's going into the amplifier. Now, I don't normally mess around with them. I normally keep them in the neutral position when I use any amplifier, but you know, you want it to be working right in case you did want to use it. So now I'm just putting it all back together, just a reversal basically of what we did to take it all apart. So when you do strip these down, you need to just remember how everything came apart to put it back in correctly. Some of these bits in behind, those screws are a bit fiddly. I kept dropping them. It took me probably 3 times as long as it should have done if I had had a magnetic screwdriver. So I'm just giving the front panel a quick little wipe off before I put that back on. I've cleaned the back of it as well and hoovered it and wiped it all down. And now we can put the 3 screws in the top back in, and then the 3 screws that go underneath to hold that all back in place. So this is actually a really nice amplifier, really good sound. I've said it before, but this amplifier reminds me of an ES amplifier that I've got. It's obviously not quite as high a quality as an ES amplifier, but it's pretty good. It sounds really nice, which I will do a sort of an overview video of the amplifier at some point. But yeah, it's a really nice amplifier. So now just cleaning the buttons off and putting them all back in place. So now we're not far off from having it all done now. So what we'll do is we'll get the lid and everything back on after this. The volume knob was in 2 pieces, so I had to put a little bit of glue there to hold that in place. So pretty straightforward. And then we can get the lid back on after this, and we can do a quick demo, and that'll be it, all done. So the lid, you can see, is a little bit grubby. So I gave that a texture coat and repainted it with some satin black, and as you can see, it looks really good now. So now that the lid's all back on and the amplifier is all back together, we can now go through and do a quick test to make sure the buttons are all working as they should. So as you can see, the system's now working all okay. One of the buttons did sound like it had a bit of distortion on it still, but that wasn't the case. I connected up another set of speakers, which the grill on the front was loose, and I didn't realise until I tried to do it. When the bass was up, it started vibrating, so that was the actual noise on that. You can hear it when I operate the bass knob as well, but afterwards I connected to another pair of speakers and it was absolutely fine. So yeah, nice little quick refurb, just a little service done on that one really. Again, you can see the de-Oxit did its job and cleaned it all, so now it's all ready to go and use again. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, it's really appreciated. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.